We can often be our own worst critics, but that can come at a cost. This week on Carlie's Couch, we explore how to stop beating yourself up.
Please, happy Monday.
Or whatever day it is.
Thanks for listening. I am Lextopia with my amigo Carlos.
Carlos Carpio. Actually, the
That's
bruh.
on fire, actually. Carlos Carpio?
Yeah, the bruhs from OU call me Carlos. They be like, "What's up, Los Dog?"
Not Los Dog.
Yeah, I'm Los Dog for sure.
It's funny when you get a nickname and then the nickname gets a nickname, because I have one of those too, and it's like you would never know where that came from without knowing the full story.
Exactly. Like my homie who just got married literally calls me Los Dog every time.
That's funny.
But yeah, CC Fierce / Carlie Carpio on Twitter. Hope y'all are having a beautiful week. I'm going to hop into this question of the week because I thought it was interesting. If you could choose your last dinner, what is on the menu?
Ooh, well, what we got is, I think everything on here kind of made me hungry. I ain't going to hold you, but the first one, 2 people said drugs. I'm not mad at that. Last dinner.
I'm going to need some type of cocktail.
Yeah, I'm not mad at a heroin boost.
I might be mad at that.
It's your last one. Crack me up.
Some little DMT experimentation.
Nah, man. Bring out the crack. It don't matter. Last meal. That's real crazy to say, but
wild. But I mean, if you're gonna be out of here, anyways.
Yeah.
Then someone else said a plate of whatever my dad is making. He must be a hell of a chef.
He must be extra nice. The next one, shout out Jasmine, a jumbo lump crab cake. Shout out Baltimore. Char grilled oysters. Ooh, New Orleans. Fresh garlic bread and a strawberry lemonade. That sounds real good.
I thought that was Lexi's when I started reading it.
Nah, but that's the only one I was like, yeah, you right.
Someone said, honestly, I'm going out with man food, a T-bone steak and cheese eggs.
That sounds good too to me. Sweet potato cornbread, chili, ice cold cheerwine. Shout out North Carolina, and a peach cobbler. That was Nate.
Someone going out with the BGs. Let's see. Fried red snapper and grilled lobster, rice and peas, pickles, chopped salad, and creme brulee.
That's Caribbean. Mm-hmm. Another person said, anything oxtails. Y'all got to let go of this hold that oxtails got on you. I promise, but
I mean, they can't be good, though. Okay.
Enjoy.
So the last one was tomahawk steaks, sauteed mushroom and onions, a loaded baked potato, and creamed spinach.
That sounds good, too.
That does sound real good.
2 green onions swimming. A light, what'd he say?
In a light bed of, what'd he say?
Light sauce. Something. Uncle Phil was craving that meal in that episode.
What would yours be off top?
Mine would definitely be like seafood and maybe like a seafood and steak type vibe. So I would probably do something too, like some crab legs, some char grilled oysters, a piece of filet or something. That's probably what I would go with.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. I would be like, can I plan the menu for the whole day? And I would start off my day with some biscuits and sausage gravy. Because why not? I'm going out. A nice latte or coffee to go with that. And then going into, I would like a salad with my steak because I actually really enjoy like eating a salad with ranch, with croutons and all that before my steak and all that jazz.
You want them to take you to Longhorn.
Yeah, and then ending with drugs.
Right. See, yeah, you got to end with that cocktail. The cyanide pill, shoot.
Okay. So,
don't worry about that, guys. You're not going to have to choose your last meal. Eat every day like it's your last meal if you can.
Yeah, if you can.
Enjoy it. Savor it like it's your last meal. That might be nice.
I'm about to say savor might be my word for the year. I haven't quite decided. It is Chinese New Year, so happy Chinese New Year to everyone who celebrates. Year of the Dragon. We end this piece. But
is that what you are?
Mm-hmm. What are you, a rat?
I'm an ox, I think.
Oh, that's why you want people to lay off the oxtails.
Am I an ox? I think I'm an ox. Not you call me a rat. I think I'm an ox.
Okay, we'll figure that out. But happy Chinese New Year. In the spirit of the new year, I feel like it's always exciting to set goals and be excited and all those things. But oftentimes, whenever you set really big goals and expectations, the letdown can be kind of tough and you can start beating yourself up. So that's what we're here to talk about today.
Yes. I think we beat ourselves up when we do things that we know we've kept telling ourselves we don't want to do or that we're not going to do. I think the beating yourself up is part of a cycle of you not listening to / trusting / doing what you said, like lying to yourself, essentially. We lie to ourselves and we beat ourselves up. So for me, some things that actually I think since we planned this podcast, I haven't, which is a good thing because I'm making changes that I'm actually sticking to. But for me, things that I beat myself up about it's always when I'm in it, right? So when I'm on the sofa and I've done too much last minute and now I'm on Uber Eats, then I kind of beat myself up like, and for me, beating myself up doesn't look like being like, man, I shouldn't be doing this. Beating myself up is I'm always thinking about like, what's my plan to do better, but while I'm doing the bad thing. So like I'll be ordering food and be like, man, I really need to be doing XYZ, or I got to do better about getting my meals together, or be eating more nutritious, or saving my money. And I'll say the things I should be doing, and then somehow like convince myself, but like, okay, let me do this. And I find myself keep always like, I'm downing myself because I'm making a decision that I'm telling myself like, this is not what I want to be doing, and yet it's what I want to be doing. So for me, it's a lot around like nutrition, when I'm eating, anything. I know I'm beating myself up when I'll be thinking of something, watching TV, having a thought, and I start Googling stuff like, how could I do better at this, or what is that thing, or researching into things, like just overthinking it instead of just the actual action. All of this is like just thinking about it, researching about it, using those things as kind of like a cover up, essentially. So that's what it looks like for me, where I'm looking up how to do something different than the habit that I'm probably doing at that exact moment.
I like that you brought up like what it actually looks like for you to beat up on yourself, because I think for all of us it's different. And so for me, it's like anytime I'm feeling bad, oftentimes it'll be for not being where I think I should be, which we did an episode about, for like not being further along. If I do start to compare, I'm like, damn, start to like looking at myself kind of sideways, like, oh man, I work out too much. Like, you know, why am I not eating as well as I could be? My body should be better, should be. Anytime I start telling myself I should be, I'm often beating myself up. But I also start to feel a lot of guilt and shame. So that is how it manifests in my body, like guilt and shame, like it feels heavy, like, yeah. And like, oh man, I know I should be sending sales emails. Like I can't be mad about my company not growing if I'm not doing the shit I know I need to be doing.
Yep. Yeah, it's the conversations we have with ourselves where it's like we know we want to be here and we're being here in this moment. But other ways that it could look for some people is like literally being like, oh, stupid. Or some people like, you know, they'll hit on their head or like, oh my God, I'm so dumb. And that's very much more direct about it. And I think that I like how we're talking about ours, because ours is like beating ourselves up, but disguised as like a little kind of self-improvement-y, self-helpy vibe, but it's not really. It really is the same thing, just in a different style. It's almost like we're planning to do a thing forever, and you're not really doing it. But in your mind, you want to live in this place of like, well, I'm doing it, I'm trying, I'm prepping it, but you're not doing the thing.
So why do we beat ourselves up? Like, what does beating yourself up do for you?
What does it really do? I think what beating myself up, when I do that, what it does to me, it does make me feel shame, guilt, like you just said. It makes me feel less than, like I'm not doing enough, or it's me acknowledging where I'm falling short. And so it's not doing anything for me. I'm going to rephrase the question about trying to think does it serve me in any way? And no, it does. I don't think it serves me in any way, really.
I thought that this was an important question because I think sometimes people think being really harsh on yourself can serve you. And so I'll give an example. So me beating myself up is a coping mechanism that I developed whenever I was younger. And so my mom was working like 3 jobs around the clock. So I was often by myself and didn't really have a parental person to be hard on me. So I had to be hard on myself so that I can succeed. So if I brought home a B on a test, I'm like, now you know you can do better. You need to do this. You need to work harder. You need to study more. And so what kind of served me when I was younger is like kind of being hard on myself. Like as I became an adult and healed and, you know, released a lot of stuff, like I don't really need to do that anymore. But it's just become this really vicious cycle. And I think sometimes like people use it for motivation. Like, man, I'm a piece of shit. Like I saw somebody post the other day, actually, my homeboy, and he was like, man, I'm such a fatty. Like he was calling himself fat because like he's out of shape right now. He used to play in the NFL. And like, I think that people think that motivates them, but I find that oftentimes it's really just guised in a lot of shame and guilt and fear and keeps you complacent where you are.
It's so interesting that even without somebody who took that role of pushing you to be better, that you decided to do that for yourself. And I wonder why. Like, I wonder what was your motivation for you to still even care about, like, pushing yourself to be like, oh, I should have an A instead of a B?
Well, so I thought that the only way out of like poverty, out of a domestic violence situation, out, like getting a better life, like the only way was for me to succeed. And the only way for me to succeed was to be hard on myself. And I would be lying if I said that I was conscious when I did that. But
probably
like
PBS and all the kind of shows and stuff back in the day, like programming used to actually make you feel like you needed to get smart.
Yeah.
I don't know about anymore, but it did.
Sesame Street is still around.
Yeah.
But I would say, like, I didn't consciously do that, but like everything that we do, even if it doesn't serve us, at some point was a coping mechanism or an attempt at us trying to heal these things or solve things or work through things. And I think that like fitness is a great example. So like beating yourself up, like I'm gonna make myself go to the gym every day and do da 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 da. But then like the way you talk to yourself, when you talk to yourself crazy, you believe it. And so I just don't buy into that. Like I have friends till this day who talk to themselves crazy and think that it's like a great thing. And I don't align with that.
Yeah, I do it a little bit with my working out too. It's just when I don't do a thing, like, because I'll be telling myself, man, I know I need to run. I know I need to run today. I know I need to run today. And I just say that all day till I get to the point where I'm like, well, now it's a little later. It's getting a little cold, or it's about to start raining, you know. And it's really just like this mental gymnastics, and we wonder why and I'll say I wonder why I'm so like drained or like tired all the time. And a lot of times it's like all this mental gymnastics you're doing all the time, whereas it's just like listen to yourself, to have a thought and do the thing. But obviously that's easier to say, but for me, that's the way I kind of cope through for real and like actually move through, is by actually doing the things. And it's so weird how it's just you're holding yourself back.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think like a lot of times we are so hard on ourselves and should and shame and guilt and all these things around like for the person who we think we should be, or like all of these unexamined goals. Like, you know, if you wanted to be a morning person, like we've talked about that before, in the sense that like if you just give yourself something to beat yourself up about, like then I think that in and of itself becomes a cycle, and then you'll always continue doing it until you finally decide to stop. So meaning
Stop
like
beating yourself up, or stop doing the action?
Stop beating yourself up. Like I think that if you have developed a pattern like that as a coping mechanism, and I think a lot of us have in different ways, then we'll keep doing it until we like are conscious enough to actually stop and realize why we do it. Like I think that's a lot of unearthing personally, to figure out why we're doing these things in the first place, and then actually stop and confront them.
Okay, so if we're beginning to recognize how we beat ourselves up around what things and why, what that looks like, then what do we do next? Is our goal to stop beating ourselves up, and just accept, you know, whatever is going on, what you are doing, and not just what you should? Is it moving forward? Like, what do you do next?
So I think that it would be great to start with yourself, to figure out if the things that you're beating yourself up about are things you actually want, or things that are actually in alignment. So like, are you going to go to the gym every morning at 4:00 in the morning and do all these things? Or is that just something you're telling yourself? And if not, are you able to adapt that thing or adapt a schedule to find the thing that you want? So like, if you know you're not a morning person, don't try to be a morning person at the gym. Maybe be an afternoon gym person or an evening gym person, and then try that. And so like, let me back up. If you have decided that you really want to work on fitness and physical health is a big goal, try different schedules until you find something that works. So make sure that the goal is in alignment, and then take action that fits your schedule and try it.
So what I'm hearing too, to even make this even more bird's eye view, is what's your real goal, and to not be married to the how you do it, but you can do a little something and figure out what makes the most sense for you.
Yeah, and I think that that's the easiest place to start, is really just making sure that you're in alignment with all of these things that you're trying to do, whether it be business, relationships, personal, etc. And then figuring out, you know, what the process can be and having fun with the process. And so the next thing is something I was talking to my therapist about, and which actually inspired this whole episode, is I was calling him because I felt like a bad friend, because him and I were talking, we had a session, but I was feeling like a really bad friend because I have like 3 friends that I haven't seen in like a couple months, but like life has been lifing. And I was just like, man, I feel like such a bad friend. And then I was overthinking. And so him and I were talking, and he brought up like, oh, you're in a pattern right now. Like you're in a cycle. And I'm like, say more. And he was talking about how he noticed that like anytime I have a negative emotion, so I feel disappointed because I feel like I haven't shown up for some of my friends like I would have wanted to, then I start overthinking and then trying to solve and then making myself feel bad after that. So I start overthinking, oh man, when they were short with that text message, it was probably because I'm a terrible person and all this.
Like
and
you're
then
trying to prove what you're thinking.
Exactly. But the underlying root thing is like this harshness to myself. And he was like, so to break that, because I'm very action oriented when it comes to therapy, like I'm trying to work through these things. How can we do this? And he was like, okay, so you have your pattern, negative thinking or negative emotion, overthinking, being harsh to yourself. And then it just keeps going. He was like, how about you recognize your pattern and embrace them, like some options you can do here. So one is like embrace the mess. Like, okay, fuck it, I'm a bad friend. And what? Like I feel I don't, but they can call me too, you know? Like it works both ways. What he told me specifically was, how about in your pattern? So after you have that negative emotion and you start overthinking, like how about you insert something there to interrupt it? And it can be something fun. It can be something playful. You can present evidence that you are a good friend and think of the last 5 thoughtful things you did for friends and how you show up for friends all the time. You can go to yoga, you can run, you can just try to interrupt that process, because a lot of times these are so ingrained in us over so many years that it's hard to be like, yep, not doing that anymore. So like just trying to interrupt that pattern so that I don't fall into the harshness on myself.
Yeah, sometimes you can catch like when you're overthinking and just kind of be like, yeah, and just kind of like try to sidetrack into something else. That can help. And like taking a break as well, like just from whatever that moment you're in to do something else, can kind of get you just not thinking about it, because we do tend to go like in a rabbit hole. I also was told that I should be able to embrace my messiness as well, because I think in our efforts to be, you know, perfect or to be whatever certain things that we wish we were being or whatever, you know, we're letting ourselves feel bad. But it's like your best is going to be different in every moment, every day, and where you are. And so in the moments that you are not doing what you think you should be doing or not fulfilling what you want to be doing, etc., I think you can accept it in those moments, and you still have to make a plan. Like, I think it's important still to work through. So still to make a plan for, okay, well, obviously this is not working for me to try to wait till, and goes back to what you said at the beginning, but like you recognize when you're doing it, and then you have to think about like, okay, give yourself that grace at that time, and also let's have a different plan. I'm all about having a plan, but you can't spend too much time on it. It has to be something that you could just jump into.
Yeah, and that's so important, like action. So, right, interrupting and action. And I think the biggest piece here is like rewriting that narrative of what you're saying, because you can do all of the actions in the world, but if you're not actively examining and rewriting those narratives that you've adapted for your life, it won't change, because you will always see the world from that lens of, if you always feel bad about yourself, every lens that you look at, you're going to find a way to feel bad about yourself.
Yeah. An example of something I did with the example I gave earlier. So I will beat myself up about nutrition because I will be quick to order some food because I'll wait too long, get hungry, I don't have groceries, or I don't want to cook. I don't even like cooking. And what I started doing in December actually is I looked up a meal plan, like a 30-day anti-inflammatory meal plan. I just wanted to get like some ideas of some stuff that, you know, maybe if I get the groceries, I can have the stuff, so I know, you know, I can prep it out. And then I remembered in my meal plan days, you know, if I had stuff made, I would warm it up and eat it. Of course, sometimes you're like, I don't want none of this. But, like, you know, in general, it's still better. And so for me, that's been a big, big thing, is, like, having a proactive plan. So the last month or so, I have had, okay, at least here's a couple meals that I'm going to get the stuff to make, one of which is always some type of salad that's a little different. And then the other one might be, like, chicken or fish and a thing. So I'm eating literally probably 200 times more vegetables just by even eating like one salad at least a day. Like I made a salad today for lunch, even though I have like hella leftovers in there that I could warm up. And so as I've done it, it feels better, because I'm like, and two, I'm like, oh, this is good. Like this is actually really good. Like I'm enjoying what I'm eating. I'm doing things that are pretty easy, so it's not like I'm taking all day and like waiting for the flour to rise and all this and that. Like I'm not doing all that, but it's just beneficial to be proactive. So like having things set up, planned, it's here. helps you to get started. And then once you get started, or at least for me, like once I get started, I'm kind of in there a little bit, because now I'm like, I'm seeing how I'm saving money. I see how I'm feeling better. I'm seeing how I'm eating a little better. And it just feels like in general, like, oh, I'm making wiser decisions. So now, like when the other day I did order some Chick-fil-A, that was the only time I've ordered Chick-fil-A in like a couple months. So it's like, oh, okay, I don't really even feel bad, and I'm not getting on myself about it. But today I was like, well, I do have stuff. Let me go make the salad. So plan for your success, and like have the things you need at hand and ready for you, so you don't have to feel like that. Same with fitness. Like for tomorrow, I hit one of my friends. I was like, hey, do you want to try to meet me, who lives around here? You want to meet me to go do a long run tomorrow? So now I'm like, I gotta get up probably to go do it, because I made something, there that makes me have to do it, because I recognize that recently I've been like, yeah, I don't know, I ain't really feeling it. And so, set yourself up to do it.
Oh, I love that. So awareness, so making sure that what you're doing is in alignment and what you want, having fun and playing with your plan. So trying different things to figure out what really works for you in this phase of your life. Taking action is the biggest one, because if you don't take action, what is the point? You just plan into plan, because that gives you a dopamine boost, but you're not really changing anything in your life. And then excuse me. And I think the last one is really just focusing on those narratives, like getting to the bottom of like why you are beating yourself up and what the bigger issue is. Cause that's really just a fruit of whatever narrative is going on in your head and in your life.
Yes. And with all of this, beating yourself up is not going to make you feel good in the moment. So for that reason, it doesn't serve much purpose, but intentionality is important. And so you really want to, of course, in everything, be intentional about how you speak and what you're doing and how you're moving forward. And so also, like, if we just slow down, like pay attention to the words, pay attention to what we're doing, how we're feeling, we can find that space to be intentional, whether it's with one thing. Like, everything's not going to be perfect every day, but you can be proud of yourself and think about the things that you do set yourself up for success with.
Yeah, and I just think that it doesn't have to be so harsh in your head all the time. Like, you don't have to be so mean to yourself or talk so crazy to yourself, because I feel like that really starts to wear on you. So taking some time to be more gentle and more kind and treating yourself like someone that you love.
Yes, be kinder to yourself this week. Thank you for listening. Leave us a comment if you are figuring out ways to stop beating yourself up, or if you have something that you'd recommend to our listeners. Let us know at carliescouch.com. at Carlie's Couch on social media. And you can hit us up anytime. See you next week.
Peace.